This week on the season finale of Bravo's Love Hotel.
But like no rush.
Oh, and I get a kiss.
Legally, yes, I am still married.
Does that bother you?
Everybody's got messy stuff.
This is a make or break decision.
Make a mistake.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Bravo's Love Hotel, Season 1, Episode 8, the last episode of the season. Let's get right into it.
Back.
Alright, you guys, so like I said, this was the finale. Checkout Time is the title of the episode. I've been enjoying this show, as y'all know. I know that not too many people watched it, but in a way I kind of liked that because it felt like a smaller audience kind of made it the experience a little bit more special. Like, you know, it was kind of like our little show that we watched that not too many people saw. I thought 8 episodes was a good amount of episodes for a season. I mean, I wouldn't have minded like maybe 2 more episodes because I thought some of these episodes were hilarious, but I do understand that there's only so much, you know, they can do at a certain point. So yeah, 8 was probably about right. But anyway, let's begin this finale. So we begin right where we left off last week. Earl and Shannon got into a massive fight the night before because Earl didn't feel like Shannon showed enough care about his homes being hit by the hurricane. So he says, I hadn't heard from her all night. And, you know, he kind of gives his side of the story. Mind you, this is in front of everyone. They're all together. Shannon then says, I want to walk out right now. How dare you? You know, typical Shannon. How dare you? I asked you before dinner how was the hurricane and you said it wasn't hitting your home. In my mind, that meant you were good. Earl says, yes, that might be true, but I think that a partner should be able to see if the other one is upset about something without always having to tell them. Gizelle then steps in there and she says that obviously she gets Earl's side. Like, these are his houses that were being hit by a hurricane. But she also thinks that Earl should give a little bit more grace to Shannon because sometimes you just don't know unless someone tells you. Shannon is crying and saying that she feels blindsided. Joelle, the host, asks Earl, why didn't you tell Shannon about the updates last night? Maybe that would have been different. And Earl says, yeah, but at the same time, I wanted her to have fun with her friends. Joel does a good job, in my opinion, on saying, listen, y'all had communication issues. And essentially, he said, you both need to work on these things. So then everyone sort of disperses for a little bit. Shannon and Earl talk one-on-one. Earl says that he hates to see her cry. Shannon says, Earl, do you think I did anything wrong last night? Do you believe that? And Earl says, I wish I could have told you that this was really bugging me down before you left the party. I wish I would have actually told you how I felt. Shannon asks, do you think we can have a relationship outside of here? And Earl asks, do you? Shannon says, well, we've had a lot of obstacles. Earl says, we've had a great time here. Honestly, better than anyone else. He says, I don't want to leave. Can we just table all this and have fun? And Shannon seems to agree, and then they hug it out. So they reconvene once again. The women are going to have to choose, they're going to need to come with a decision for their overnight dates. They will pick somebody. So they'll each pick someone. There will be 4 picks. Whoever isn't picked by one of the women will have to go. That is the end. Ashley and Gizelle, though, are like, whoa, no. We're not ready to send someone home. Because remember, both of them are in situations where they kind of like 2 people at the same time. Gizelle, she's like, well, can I like split my time with Phil and Theo? So Joelle's like, okay, we could do that. And then Ashley goes ahead and does the same thing because for her, she's in the same boat with Wale and RHOP. She wants to spend time with both, but she's going to be different. She's not going to be like Gizelle who splits her night. She will have Wale for all the night, and then she wants to have RHOP like in the morning the next day. Luanne, of course, no surprise, takes James. By the way, James gifted her a necklace. And Shannon picks Earl, of course. Gizelle made a funny comment in her confessional saying that like Shannon and Earl shouldn't be doing all this fighting when they really just met. Like, why are you crying and fighting and like you two just met? And I agree with this, but Listen, Shannon Beador is extremely sensitive, and it looks like Earl's a little sensitive too. So when you get two people that are very sensitive, it's just going to be a lot of emotions. So that means that Mitch and Mark are eliminated, so they leave. They were both Luanne suitors, but she's been locked in with James, so they weren't really doing anything. The dates are to get to know each other on a deeper level. That's what the host says. So then they get going. Ashley and Wale go on a boat. He loved how she looked. The scenery was great. He says that he's glad that they're there because they've had their bumps on the road. And she asks him, Wale, do you even like me? And he says, I love you. As someone that I know, I don't even know why he said that. He threw that L word in there. They eat some oysters, and of course, Ashley makes some vulgar question about something. I'm not even going to repeat it. Gizelle and Phil go to the spa. Gizelle rubs some oil on Phil. He was very excited. Gizelle thanks Phil for working around her pace. She does still want to explore things with Theo, but she does love that Phil is established. And y'all, they kissed. Gizelle kisses Phil. For Gizelle to kiss a man on camera, I think is a big deal. So I was like, whoa. Luanne and James go to a romantic dinner. Listen, Luanne trying to speak French to the waiter who was from Swiss. I had me laughing. James tells her that he's told her many times now that he is in love with her, and he means it. He says that he hasn't really fallen in love too many times in his life, but he is in love right now. And I think that it was good that Luanne was honest with him. She says, do you want to get married? And he says, yes, I would like to. And Luanne says, I want to be with someone who has the same lifestyle. I want to do what I want, when I want, travel when I want, first class. Really, the only issue between her and James is the distance. He doesn't live in New York. He lives in Hawaii. That's like a really big obstacle. I do tend to think that when you love somebody for real, like just in general, I believe that when someone is in love, they will move to Jupiter for their person. But I also do think that there's a lot to be said about wanting to stay where you live, especially if you have family there, you have your home and, connections, maybe your career is based there. So, yeah, that is definitely very important. And I feel like that does seem to be a big challenge when it comes to a lot of these dating shows like The Bachelor, Bachelor Nation, things like that, because you have all these people, but they're from all over the place, so that's definitely something very important. Shannon and Earl, they went horseback riding, and I think the dates overall were pretty fun. The couples seemed to have dates, and then a little later, they head to their suites. Not Gizelle, though, because now she has her second date of the night with Theo. I can't really say at this point who Gizelle likes more, Theo or Phil, but one thing that I can say for sure is that Gizelle smiles a lot when she's with Theo. Shannon and Earl, they go to the suite, they talk a little bit more. Shannon says that she doesn't want to have another day like the one that she had today in the morning. And he says he knows. He wanted Shannon to be there for him last night, and all he needed to do was just tell her. And she's like, yes, just tell me. She says that she has a lot going on in her life right now, so all she wants is to have someone and be happy. Earl also tells her, I care a lot for you, and as we go through this journey, I need you. Like, I need to tell you that I need you to be there. Like, I've been through a lot. And he says that he's gone through a lot. He's had a rough childhood, a divorce. He lost his second wife to an illness. He says to Shannon, I'm sorry for not giving you the opportunity to help. And she loves that he opened up to her, and this gives her hope for sure. So let's go back to Gizelle, because like I said, she was having a really good time with Theo, smiling a lot. And he tells her that, because they were eating dessert, so he tells her that he'll take her to the best dessert places in New York, because we all know Gizelle loves her dessert, honey, okay? She loves her dessert. And Theo tells her that he actually made his daughter her birthday cake. He made a cake that looked like a duck on a pond, which was so nice. I think that was really nice for Gizelle to hear. And she likes the fact that he has kids. And in a way, she also likes the fact that he's still taking care of them. So yeah, very nice. date. Meanwhile, y'all, James is giving Luanne a foot massage. It's making her moan. They were doing a lot, and then they took her to the bedroom. Alright, Wale and Ashley, they headed to the bathtub. He asks, well, not the bathtub, the hot tub, I should say, in her suite. He asks her, like, what is the status with her marriage with her ex-husband? And Ashley's like, I've been waiting for you to ask me this. Wale says that he didn't know anything about her until he got there. She's like, yeah, I'm still legally married. By the way, it's finalized now. This was filmed before it was finalized. So yeah, this was filmed a while ago, but we know that now she has finalized, but to this point during the filming she had not. And Wale then says that he did his research, and when he saw her ex-husband, he thought to himself, oh, maybe I'm not her type. But she lets him know that she doesn't have a type. She'll date any shade, any gender. She just wants passion. So he's like, come here, I'll give you your passion. And then they make out. So that was it for the night. It is now the morning, the day of the final checkout. The couples that stayed together are waking up together, i.e. Shannon and Earl and James and Luanne. Ashley, though, is now spending time with Ralph. It's a little bit awkward because Ashley knows that Ralph knows that Wale was here last night, but Ashley does tell him that while Wale did spend some time with her here, he didn't spend the night. Then they begin to talk about life. She tells him that she's still legally married. He doesn't really mind, though, because he understands that, things happen. Ashley sees Ralph as more mature. Not to say that Wale is immature, but she just thinks that because he is older, she feels like he's more understanding to life situations. And I do think that I have heard from some women who say that they do like older guys because there does tend to be more maturity. But of course, that's like a individual basis. Like there are some older people that are more mature than like a teenager. So obviously that depends. But I think that she sees that with Ralph. So then the four women meet up with Joel, and they talk about how yesterday was. Shannon and Luanne seem to be very happy with their time with Earl and James. Ashley is still conflicted, and so is Gizelle. So they all have to do a lot of thinking now. Then the sun sets. It's a little later. The ladies have changed. They all look good, and they go to do the checkouts. The checkouts were a little bit different than what I imagined. I thought they would like all be lined up, and like the men would be lined up too, and the women would say, I'm picking you. No, this was different. So each woman individually went with the man who they've been dating, and that's where they'll let them know. So the first one we see is Luanne. She begins with James, and she says that she likes him enough to ask, will you check out with me? And he says yes. So, oh yay, that was a success. This couple has checked out of the Love Hotel. Now here comes Gizelle. So we got a side-by-side with her of her conversations with both men, because one at a time, obviously. First she talked to Phil. She says, I love I've loved meeting you. I love what we've had here, but I do feel like we are in two different places in our lives. So she's not checking out with him from the Love Hotel. And he says that's okay, but he says that he hopes they can be friends, and he thinks they'll be friends for life. So I really like the way he took that. So then the second one she talks to is Theo, and she tells him that his quirkiness and his silliness makes him interesting, and she would like for them to check out from the Love Hotel. Oh, another success, another couple checking out. Next is Shannon, and wow, has she had an emotional roller coaster on this show. So Earl begins by saying that he is so proud of what they've overcome. Shannon says, earlier today I was talking to the girls, and they told me that every time I talk about you, my eyes light up, but when I talk about our situations that have been unfortunate, I look very sad. But when I think about it, I can't deny that you were my person. So then they check out, and I was, yay! I was Team Shannon and Earl from like episode 1. This made me very happy. Last but not least, Ashley. She begins with Wale. She says, "You're a wonderful person, and as much as it pains me, I do have to say, I will not be checking out the hotel with you." He says it's okay. He then gives her one final note, because remember, that was sort of his thing, giving her notes. And the note said something to the effect of, "Although I didn't get your final vote, I'm glad I got a piece of your heart, and I hope you get a man who you'll give your entire heart to," or something like that. She thinks it's sweet. I felt bad for him, but at the same time, well, the girl told you in about 30 different freaking ways that she didn't want you, and you still persisted, so, I wouldn't say he was blindsided. I think he knew that pretty well he wasn't going to be chosen. She's upset for like about a second, but then Ralph arrives, and she tells Ralph that today has been a lot. She has felt something with him. Her biggest fear is where they are currently in their lives, and if that might not work out. She did a lot of thinking, and she has decided to ask him to leave the hotel with her. Yay, another success. I'm gonna be honest, I thought she would leave alone, but no, she left with Ralph. I think he was surprised too. And that was the end of the Love Hotel. Or as James would sing, the Love Hotel. Staying at the Love Hotel. Listen, all 4 women successfully checked out. But let's get to the real deal. What's going on now? Well, Gizelle and Theo made plans to meet up, and those plans never came into fruition. Apparently Theo lost his phone, so they're not dating. Earl did spend time with Shannon in OC and in Georgia, and they did date, but they're not together anymore. Ashley and Ralph's relationship did not last either. However, there's a little bit of hope at the end of a little light at the end of the tunnel. Luanne and James are still seeing each other. Damn. So, hey, I mean, at least one success. That's something. I'll take it. Listen, y'all, am I surprised that no one's really dating anyone? No, I'm not. Luanne, again, she is with James. I saw her appearance on Watch What Happens Live after the finale. Even, they're still seeing each other. Obviously, that distance is a big obstacle, but they're still very much in contact. They still very much like each other. It's not like they're exclusive, like living together. No, but you know what? It's nice. So that is good. Gizelle. I think that Gizelle didn't come into this show with really any intentions of actually finding someone to date. I think that, she thought it might, listen, I'm being offered, I need an extra paycheck, why not? So I'll take it. And don't get me wrong, I did enjoy seeing her on the show. Would it have been better if she was actually, committed to it and interested in it and like actively wanting to date someone? Of course. And I did think that her and Theo had something nice going on, but like, it wasn't anything that was going to, like be strong enough to live outside of the show. So I'm not totally surprised, although they did have some good chemistry. Ashley, I kind of saw Ashley's whole experience with tainted lenses, because literally, you guys, one day before the freaking show aired, she posted pictures with her and her boyfriend, and I was like, dang, Ashley, you can't at least like not post knowing the show's about to come on? Like, come on. But yeah, but I have to admit, she was a little bit annoying, but she kept the show a little interesting, I guess. And then last but not least, Shannon Beador. Listen, I love Shannon, but good luck to her ever finding a man that she's gonna keep. If she is going to continue her relationships being erratic, being hypersensitive, blowing things out of proportion, like freaking out over the smallest things, snapping at her partner, finding an issue with every little single thing, always being the victim, crying, screaming, hollering, I don't know if she's ever going to find someone. And I'm not saying that trying to be hateful. I'm just trying to be realistic, Shannon. I love you. But listen, the girls from your own show all have like the same opinion about you, that you are a bit of a mess. And if you can't get your act together at 60, I don't even know what to tell you. But you guys, what I do want to let y'all know is that I have a suggestion for next season. I absolutely think the show should come back, and I nominate the following Bravo housewives. I want to see Adriana de Moura from the Real Housewives of Miami. I want to see Heather Gay from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I want to see Garcelle Bouvet from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I would actually, believe it or not, even though I'm not her biggest fan, I would love to see Kenya Moore on Bravo's level 2. But again, to make it good, I would want these women to actually come in it with an open mind. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I want them to come into this saying, you know what, I'm open to the possibility of actually meeting someone. So anyway, you guys, that was the end of the episode. It has been 8 amazing weeks of recapping this little fun, lighthearted show. I enjoyed it because it incorporated two things that I love: the Real Housewives and the whole dating show, universe of it all. So yeah, you guys, it was a good season. Let me know what your thoughts were. Are you surprised by the people who didn't end up making it? What are your thoughts? Who would you like to see in the second season? Let me know. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.